Okay, let's start. Hopefully, the last unit for Tefillah. Anyone remember what question we're up to? I recall it being
Al-Hanisim? Al-Hanisim, yeah.
Yeah. So that's letter H on the last list. The very last question, letter H. Okay. So, Leor, do you want to take this one? We'll go backwards this time. Sounds like someone's hearing some beeping going on.
Sorry, that's up.
Sorry, hold on, we'll mute it.
I need a second to get organized.
Car alarm.
What did you say, Leor?
I need the second to get organized.
Okay, that's okay. Does anyone? That's okay. You just came on. Does anyone else want to take it?
I can take
letter H. Marvai?
Sure. So
Marvai, my condolences after last night.
Oh, don't remind me. It was a rough night last night. Let's just say that.
It was pretty brutal. Pretty brutal
No,
for you.
I started out pessimistic, so when this happens, I'm like, well, we made it this far, so.
It was a nice run.
Exactly.
Certainly made history.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so Al-Hanasim, I think that was on page 131. This one kind of confused me. And it's inserted into the Amida for Hanukkah and Purim.
Mm-hmm. And it's inserted into the Amidah. And what else? Is something else it's inserted into?
I actually don't know.
Anyone else?
Okay.
What?
Did you say, what was the question?
What else? Where else do we say Al-Hanisim besides for the Amidah?
Hanukkah?
Right, on Hanukkah and Purim, but benching, exactly.
That's right.
In benching. Now, what happens if you forget Al-Hanisim?
No, don't worry.
What?
You don't repeat benching.
You don't repeat benching? How about the Amidah?
You don't repeat that either.
You don't repeat the Amidah either. It is different from Ya'alev Yavo, where you almost always repeat it, unless it's Ma'ariv Rosh Chodesh.
No, don't be.
But all Al-Hanisim you do not repeat if you forget. The interesting thing is that the the little quirk in it, the Al-Hanisim for Hanukkah is much longer than the one for Purim. But because Hanukkah is 8 days, so we're saying it 3 times a day, excluding any benching, so probably 4 times, maybe 5 times a day, you end up knowing Al-Hanisim really well, so much faster. I can usually say it by heart, basically. Whereas the Purim one, since we really only say it once a year, it's hard to know that one. That one goes so much slower because it's something that I say so infrequently, even though it's much shorter. Okay, letter I, Hallel. This is a good one. Julia, do you want this one?
Sure. Hallel said every Rosh Chodesh, Yom Tov, Hanukkah, and Purim.
And it's right.
It's actually not said on Purim.
Oh, it's not? I forgot. Whoops.
I thought it was said on Purim also.
It's said on Hanukkah, but not said on Purim. So what is the Hallel for Purim? It's the Megillah.
Oh, okay. It's supposed to be a set. It's supposed to be a happy thing. And it's page.
It's page 732.
Yep. Great. And is that said sitting or standing?
Standing.
Yep. Great. And, sometimes it's a shorter version of the Hallel on certain holidays. Like on Rosh Chodesh, we don't say 2 of the paragraphs, which are really the first half of 2 psalms. Okay, letter J. Oshano. Emily. Emily? Okay, Elena?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is number, we just finished Hallel, so now we're on Hoshanot.
Uh-huh. No, come on, Emily. You would never say it that way.
Hashanas? I don't know.
Hoshanas. Yes, exactly. Hoshanas.
Yeah. Sorry. It's true.
If you were Lior or Gabe or something, you would say Hoshanot. But,
True.
But you're
right. But I was reading it as it was written, so. Yeah, so what I have down for that is we say it on Sukkos.
Yeah.
But I don't have page number because I have this wrong.
Okay. Can you describe it? Like, what happens there?
I didn't write it down because I don't know if. Wait, what did the question say? Which pages? The question was what pages are these prayers and on when in the year do we say them? So I didn't get that far.
How Talmudic of you. Anyone know, can someone give, and I didn't ask for like the gestures or whatever. Any sense of what this is, Hoshano?
Julia's got this one.
Oh, Julia, take it away then.
Well, I remember it's on Sukkot. It's like they like walk around and they sing, and then
is this with the etrog and the lulav, the shaking? Yeah.
Well, it's not the shaking. We just walk around with it.
Okay, this is the rocking one. Okay. This isn't the one where you go like
around Torah.
Oh, okay.
This was done in the temple times as well, so this is ancient practice. And then we go once around every day, and then on Hoshana Rabbah, we go, which is the 7th day, we go around 7 times. It's a very long davening. Does that sound familiar? Going around once for 7 days, and then on the 7th day going around 7 times. Does that sequence sound familiar to anybody? Trick question. You don't have to know this in advance, but.
Is a wedding? No.
Yes. Okay. Great. Wedding 7 times, circling. But where does that come from? That just begs the question. The sequence of going around 7 times in the Bible is found only once, and that was during the conquest in the book of Joshua, when the city of Jericho, of Jericho. It had a wall around it, so we circled it once a day for 7 days, and then on the 7th day we did it 7 times, and then miraculously the wall came crashing down, and we were able to conquer the city. That was the first city that we approached. Great. Okay, next one. Elena?
Yeah. Musaf Rosh Hadesh. It's page 745 and Amidah. The following prayer until in former years on page 756 also. It says silently standing together and it's repeated around by the leader.
What'd you say, the leap year you said?
No. A lot. So it's leader usually says this, right?
It's what?
Its leader said this.
The leader, yeah. Well, on which page are you referring?
745.
Well, everybody, that's the silent Amidah. So this is the Amidah, just like any other Amidah, except for Mariv. We say it as a congregation first, and then the leader repeats it.
Yeah, and also page 756.
That goes until, it goes all the way up until 756. Yes, it goes from 744, really 745, because we're all reading in Hebrew, until 757. And that is the Amidah for Rosh Chodesh during the week, from Sunday through Friday. Now, if you are a man, then you're wearing tefillin usually during Shacharis, it's during the week, but we take off our tefillin for Musaf. Something to pay attention to. So we always take it off before Musaf. And that has to do with the wording that's found in the Kedusha for Nusach Sfard, in which it says the word crown, and we try not to mix up the crowns. Like we're wearing a crown, so it would be a little impolite if we're wearing a crown when we're talking about God's crown. So we take that crown off. Now that's only the weekday Amidah. What about the Shabbat Rosh Chodesh? When Rosh Chodesh falls out on Shabbat, where is that for the Musaf? Because for Shacharis, all you do is add Ya'alav Yavo. That's all you do, right? You add Ya'alav Yavo, letter G. But what about on Shabbat for Musaf? Anyone know the answer to this page number?
It's 761.
761, you said?
Yes.
The answer is no, but what are you referring to? 761. 761 is Kiddush for festival evenings. So that's when it's like Pesach or Sukkot or Shavuot. So the evening, those night times, you would say Kiddush before the meal. So that's not the Amidah for Musaf and Shabbat. Anyone else want to give it a shot?
Is it page 543?
So the Amidah begins the same Amidah for Musaf. It starts on the same page 537. And then you were right, Marvai, on page 543, below the line, is where we would continue with the Rosh Chodesh section of the Amidah. So if you look on the bottom page 543, you would continue the Amidah. You started on page 537. You'd say 537, 538, just like every other Amidah. You would skip 541 when you're praying it silently, because that's the Kedusha. You see the top line of page 543, and then you see that line over there on Shabbat Rosh Chodesh, say, Ata Yetzarta. And then you'd skip down to the bottom, and then you go below the line for the next 3 pages. Any questions about that logistically? Okay. Thank you, Elena. Is David with you, or he's working a late night?
Yeah, he's working right now.
Okay. Tell me miss him.
Yeah.
Eitan.
The Sefot, they're penitential poems and prayers leading up to the high holidays and on fast days. They are Hashem's 13 attributes of mercy, and which are essential things throughout, and they're on page 925.
Great. Great, exactly. And the ones for before Rosh Hashanah and between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are not going to be found in a siddur. They're a separate book because it's too heavy, it's too much. There are too many prayers, it won't fit in. But the ones for fast days are here.
So they're found in the books that you'll get on the high holidays, though.
Well, usually you have to buy this one yourself. It's occasionally shuls will have slichot books, but not often do they have. Actually, it's fairly rare, in my opinion, that shuls provide slichot books to everybody. So you have to go get one yourself. Which is, I mean, listen, you use it every year, so it's a one-time investment, and use the rest of your life. As long as you don't lose it from year to year, otherwise they'll keep buying new ones. I did that once. To buy a new one. Great. And again, it does touch upon, the height of it is the 13 attributes of mercy that we just read about a few weeks ago after the golden calf. And we invoke those 13 attributes to mercy for either the challenging time because it's a fast day. Okay, letter M, Jackie.
So non-tenure is inserted
Yeah.
into the fourth blessing of the Amidah and recited during Mariv on after Shabbat.
And after Shabbat, in other words, would be called?
It's not Havdalah. What's the name for it? Hang on. It's like
Begins with an M.
Shabbat.
Motzei.
Motzei Shabbat.
Motzei Shabbat. Fine.
Yeah, Motzei Shabbat, and I have here page 335, but could that be right?
No.
No.
Do you have the same book as I do, or?
Yeah, no, that's that doesn't make sense.
There you go. It's on page 261.
Okay.
So it's found in the middle of that fourth bracha on page 261 in the Mariv Amidah. Okay, almost there. Very close, very close. Okay, Damien and Limor, I don't think you guys are ready for answering these questions, right?
We started with Purim, so
Great.
we're not.
Okay, that makes sense. Good.
Answer all these.
That's okay. We're going to get to Purim soon. Letter N, Lior. Let's swing back to you.
I don't have the answers. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Dan and Shayna, you guys are going to pick up with us for next unit, right? You don't have the answers to these.
Yeah, I did the Purim unit, but I don't have the answers to
That's
these.
okay. It didn't make a whole lot of sense for you to do like the last 5 of this massively long unit.
Okay.
It's totally fine.
Purim when I started kosher, so.
Great. Just perfect. You and Damien Lee Moore are right on track with each other. Perfect.
Okay, cool.
Gabe, you want this one?
Hey, Rooftop Shilin, can you hear me?
The one right beforehand. Vayihi Noam.
Vayihi Noam. No, I'm sorry, Rabbi.
Marvai?
Yeah, so I think this is the one on page 695 for Marav Motzi Shabbat.
Yes, exactly.
And it's said basically asking for God's protection for the following week.
Mm-hmm. Great. And it said right after the silent Amidah, after a Kaddish, obviously, on Mariv for Mosei Shabbat. Great. Letter O, Eruv Tafshilin. Gabe, you want to try this one again?
Sure. This
Sounded
is
like you're interested in this one.
This is said when it's when Shabbat is going to be the second day of a Chag, so that you can cook on the holiday for Shabbat. Is that right? And
yes, indeed. Right, because let's just to give you a reminder, or if this is new, a preview, because we're going to go into this in a little bit more detail later. But the laws of are we allowed to cook on Shabbat? Quick, yes, no.
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 No. Are we allowed to cook on Yom Tov? Yes, no.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some rules. You have to have a pre-existing flame.
That's right. Yeah.
Exactly. There are some rules. You have to have a pre-existing flame. There are some things you have to be careful about.
You can only prepare food for that time period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, exactly. So besides for some other restrictions that might exist about what you can do for cooking, it's not all bets are off. You can't just take out your blender or something and start using it. But you can cook. There is some cooking allowed on Yom Tov as long as it's from a pre-existing flame for that day. So what happens if there's a 3-day yontif, right? Yom Tov falls out on a Thursday, Friday, and then Shabbos is the next day. So when exactly are you cooking the food for Shabbos? Can't cook it on Shabbos. Can't cook it on yontif because you can't cook on yontif for Shabbos for a different day. You can only cook that day. You can only cook food that day for that day. So when exactly are you cooking for Shabbos? On Wednesday? Wednesday morning, Tuesday night, it's too far in advance. So there is this approach that the rabbis instituted. It says, well, you can you started cooking on Wednesday, so you can continue cooking what you already started cooking permissibly on Wednesday over the Yom Tov. So this is called an Erev Tafshilin. So we take usually a hard-boiled egg and a piece of matzah, or one of the other, And then what page is this on? Anybody know?
759.
759. And you say this line to declare, and this bracha, to declare your intentions that you are, that this is going to be the beginning of your meal that you will eat on Shabbat, and then you make sure to eat it on Shabbat, and then you're allowed to cook on Yom Tov for Shabbat. And this applies whether it's a 2-day yontif or, or as Gabe said, if it falls out on Friday and Shabbat, same thing applies. Okay. Letter P. Who are we up to? Jared, I think we're up to you.
You want to do bracha? So, you want to do bracha? All right. So bracha on Hanukkah candles is page on 896. For each night is Pesach, one for each night. You light one for each night. You say standing. You say Shachianu on first night and only the first night. You say the other two every night.
Great. Julia?
So I know that the bris on page 1015, but I don't know exactly anything about it.
What happens? You're not sure what happens? Well,
I'm kind of sure what happens, but I'm not really sure what happens.
well, that's what happens. I mean, there's a ceremony which you can read here, but yeah, we don't have to go into the details right now. But yes, this is where it is. The mohel and the father make brachot, and then the baby is given a name after a blessing over wine, like a mini kiddush, and then the baby's taken back. That's basically what happens.
Okay.
And obviously the bris itself, the circumcision, takes place after the 2 brachot. Just like any other mitzvah, right? We say a bracha, then we do the mitzvah. So same thing here. Now what about letter R? Emily?
Zevet Habat. It's the kind of the female equivalent, I suppose you could say, except, no mohel involved. It's the naming ceremony instead for baby girls.
Yeah, and what page is that on? Oh, you don't have the page. Who has the page?
Sorry.
Zevet Habat.
35 to 1037.
1035, exactly. 1035. Perfect. And people, it's coming much more in vogue now because it's because society realizes that it's nice to also have a celebration for when our daughters are born, not just our sons. And even though we don't have female circumcision, thank God, doesn't mean we shouldn't have some kind of a celebration. So this is an opportunity to celebrate our daughters as well. But it should be noted, though, that this isn't like a modern phenomenon. This Zevet Habat ceremony actually comes from, I believe, like the 1500s or something. So it's quite old. It was practiced mostly amongst either Italians or Sephardim. But nonetheless, it's not like we're plucking it out of the clear blue sky and as if it doesn't have any relevance to Judaism except for our modern sensibilities. It has deep resonance. Now more people are following it than had been before. Baruch Hashem. Elena.
Yes, it's Sheva Brachot. S.
Yep, S. Yes, Sheva Brachot. Where is it?
Okay, I'm not sure where is it. I know Sheva Brachot is 7 blessings. Also knows Brikot Nisuin, the wedding blessing.
Wait, I don't hear you so well. Say it again.
It's 7 blessing, wedding blessing for wedding.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm not sure what page is it. I'm not sure.
It's 7 blessings, exactly, that's said after a wedding.
Yes.
And it's also said at a different time as well.
Yes.
When else, besides for at the wedding itself, when else is it said? Does anybody know?
Are you talking about like the 6 days following the wedding?
Exactly. And what do we call those days?
Oh, that I don't know.
Sheva brachos.
We call them Sheva brachot. Exactly. We call them Sheva brachot.
Oh,
Exactly. Specific tautological, but yeah. No trick questions here. So the days following the wedding, so we're supposed to celebrate for 7 days, right? We come back to that number, 7. Those days after a wedding, so the day of the wedding plus 6 more. And every single meal that celebrates a bride and groom, that has a minyan present, we recite these Sheva brachot, which are found on page
1041.
1041, exactly, 1041, precisely. So, I mean, a lot of people don't realize this custom exists, and they plan their honeymoon the day after their wedding, which is not usually the practice of Orthodox Jews because there is the whole week of Sheva brachot that couples then miss out on, right? So basically, you get married. Let's say you get married on a Sunday, so then Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, every single night, different friends or family members from all different sides are hosting you and having an after party, and then you have Shabbat Sheva brachot, or as I would call it, Shabbos Sheva brachos, in which you would be going to one side's house. Usually, it would be, if it was at the bride, if you were at the big party at the groom's house for the ufruf, which is the week before the wedding, when the groom gets an aliyah. So the Shabbos Sheva brachos might be at the bride's family, where there would be a big celebration there, and then new people will be able to come. It's basically an opportunity for people to continue to celebrate the wedding, to invite people who couldn't make it to the wedding, because these are actually, you need someone new who wasn't at the wedding for you to be able to say all 7 brachot. So it's a beautiful week because a lot of times, it's amazing to me that people go from, planning a wedding for 2 years, because people do this. It's crazy. People plan weddings for years in advance, all lead up to this one day. They get married. 6 hours later, that's it. It's over. It's over. Nothing else happens. I think it's crazy. So they go on a honeymoon. Still, it's such a letdown. There's no chance you were able to see all the people that were at your wedding and be able to spend time with them and schmooze with them and see other people. So we cultivate this opportunity. You spend the next 7 days, with the wedding day included, continuing to celebrate on a much smaller scale with various shades of people who host you at meals, and it's very exciting. And then listen, you go on your honeymoon afterwards. Enjoy yourself, go on a honeymoon, fine. But first celebrate Sheva brachot, and then we recite all these Sheva brachot, and you get to invite people who you couldn't invite at the wedding, they couldn't make it, or it was too expensive and you couldn't have them, or whatever it might be. So it's a great opportunity to continue to celebrate your wedding, and you don't have the letdown right after the big wedding, because you keep partying for the next few days.
Hey, Rabbi, I have a question.
Please.
Is it also supposed to be that during those 7 days, the bride and groom are supposed to not be sleeping together, or is that not?
So yes, sort of. So in, let's say, traditional Orthodox settings in which a bride and groom have never had sex before, and a bride is still a virgin, so then the first time that the couple has sex, they have to actually separate after that first time. The hymen is broken, there's blood that comes out. It's unclear if it's, we're delving a little bit into the laws of menstruation within Judaism. So this is, we will come back to this on a one-on-one basis before your wedding. We will cover it a little bit in short at a different unit, but this is not meant to give a full summary here of the laws of menstruation within Judaism. However, just In short, so it could have been there could have been mixed uterine blood with the hymenal blood, and you couldn't be 100% sure. So couples then separate as if it was a menstruation, and therefore they can't resume to have sex again until they go through the entire nida process, and she goes back to the mikvah. So, indeed, right after the couple gets married, they've never had sex before. They have sex. They don't have sex again until she goes to the mikvah. So, but during that whole week, they're not having sex. So it's not like it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to go on honeymoon because you'd be sightseeing or something, but you wouldn't be together. So that's another benefit to the Sheva Brachot, in which you're very expected to be spending lots of time with family members. But yes. Now, obviously, if a couple, if that is not the particularities of a couple, that law wouldn't apply. So if a woman had sex before, then she wouldn't. There wouldn't be the same concern. So then they wouldn't have that restriction of having sex. TMI? Are you guys okay?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Listen, we're not here to hide anything. We're very open about all things. Transparency is our name. Okay, so on that note, let's go to letter T. It's a perfect segue from hymenal bleeding to letter T. Who wants it? Which courageous soul will take letter T? Somebody? Should I call on you? Well, who were we up to? Who did Sheva Brachot? Elena did. So that's you guys, Jackie and Eitan.
Kriyas HaTorah. It's for, well, the weekday would be on page 159.
Monday and Thursday.
Monday, that's for Monday and Thursday, and then for Shabbat Mincha, on page 499.
499. And what about correct? Well, that's actually 499 is not Shabbat Mincha. That's Shabbat day.
Shabbat day.
What's Shabbat Mincha?
Oh, so then it would be after that. Hold on. Gotta go farther. Keep going. Where are we?
Do you read on Shabbat Mincha? Read Torah?
You read Torah on Shabbat Mincha, yes.
Yeah, here we go.
Only the first aliyah of the next week's parsha, which is broken up into 3. Which one, Eitan?
It's in the 6s, but we're just trying to figure out which page, exact page.
Don't go too far.
Go too far.
At all.
Oh.
What?
It's the same.
Wait, is it the same page?
600, 601.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about going back to 499. I was like, what happened?
No, 600, 601 and 603, we take the Torah out. However, where do you know, where is the Torah reading for these days?
Wait, what's the question?
So let's say you show up to shul tomorrow morning. Right, it's a Thursday morning. So yes, you're on page 100 and what'd you say, 159? The Torah comes out, great. Now you want to follow along in this upcoming week's Shabbat, right? Parsha, which is Parsha Vayikra. So you want to go follow along with that Parsha. So you could go to the back and get yourself a big chumash, but it's also found in your siddur. You don't have to go. What?
In the back?
In the very back, starting on page 1072.
Yeah, I've done this before.
So you go to the back and you'll see it's the reading for these days from Monday, Thursday, and Shabbos Mincha is found in the back, as well as the other holidays. If you keep going, you'll see they have like for the first day of Passover. On page 1122 is the reading for Purim.
So every single page is in here?
What?
So all of them are in here?
Except, yes, all of the holidays and Monday, Thursday, Shabbos, Mincha are all back here. So you actually get a fair, you get a large portion of the Bible in here.
So do you, all intents and purposes, do you need the Chumash? Or, like, if you had this, would you be pretty...
For Monday, Thursday, and Shabbos, Mincha? Or, like, for life in general?
Well, no, I guess Monday, Thursday, and Shabbos, Mincha.
Yeah, for Monday, Thursday, Shabbos, Mincha, you do not need anything more than your siddur. For Passover, Shavuot, nothing more than your siddur. Sukkot, nothing more than your siddur. Hanukkah, all you need is your siddur. Purim, all you need is your siddur. All of these days, you just need any fast day, you just need your siddur. It's all in here. But for the larger portions, when we read on Shabbat, then you need a Chumash.
Got it. Makes sense.
Well, my friends, we have finished the Tefillah unit.
How many weeks was that?
I don't know. I want to say like 11 or 12. But we took a few weeks off in the middle, so
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, Mazel Tov, Yasher Koach, Yasher Koach FM, we did it. When we see each other next, please bring your siddur. We can play a little test game of like opening up the siddur to a random page and saying, what page is this? Oh, 397. 397. These are Smirot for Shabbat, and we say these on Friday night. Next page. Oh, this is in the middle of Hallel, and on Hallel, we say Hallel on Rosh Chodesh, and on Hanukkah, and on Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot. Oh, and this is Shema on Shabbat morning. We say it, and we have to say it by a certain time, the third hour, etc., etc. So hopefully we can play a game like that to concretize this methodical and tedious approach of learning the siddur that I hope gave you much more confidence in using and handling your siddur than you had 12 weeks ago. We should dedicate some time to evaluating this class, and specifically the Tefillah unit at a later date. But let's just do Purim. I did not realize that I had sent it out. I'm so proud of myself for sending it. Does everyone have the Purim unit?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel responsible. I don't usually feel so responsible. Okay. Number 1, who wants it? Let's bring some of our new folks in. Damien, you want it?
Sure.
Did we do a proper hello, by the way? I don't think we have yet.
I
don't think so. So we're going to go through the questions, and then at the end, we'll go do the hello.
All right.
So take it away, Damien.
We're talking about on which day of the Jewish calendar do we celebrate Purim?
Yes.
14th day of Adar.
Great. Number 2A, Limor?
So I'm identifying Achashverosh, who was the king of what we found out was kind of like the Persian Empire. And he was, how much do I say that doesn't give away the other ones?
There's overlap. That's okay. I don't mind if you give away a little bit.
Okay, so he was the king. He was married to Vashti, who kind of embarrassed him by saying no to coming to see him in her crown. So he banished her, and then found Esther in a very non-feminist fashion. And Esther was advised by her uncle Mordecai on sort of how to behave. And did I do enough?
I think that sounds great. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There are two basic thrusts about Achashverosh at the rabbis' debate. they debate whether he was ignorant and sort of like a doofus, and that's how he ran his kingdom, or they say no, that he was actually wicked. So, and he was complicit in his desire to destroy the Jewish people. Okay, Lior, do you want the next one?
Sure. 1 second, I'm having problems. The next one is Mordechai, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Mordechai was the uncle of Esther. He was Jewish. He adopted Esther, which was an orphan. He brought her up as she was his own daughter. And he was a very wise man. And he heard that the king, by the advice of some bad people, were planning to basically kill the Jews, and he devised a plan to save the Jews, and the rest is history.
Yeah, great. He also has distinct lineage. He seemed to have been a member of the court, and he descends from, our rabbis say, from the high court. So he was a member of the court. Very knowledgeable scholar. Even though his name was Mordechai, which is basically what we know today is the name of a pagan god, Marduk. So his name was essentially Christopher, if you were to use like our parlance. So our hero's name is Christopher, and our heroine, well, we'll get to her soon. So Dan, why don't you go?
All right, so what I have is that Esther is the heroine of the story. She was taken by the Persian king to become part of his harem, and she was the king's favorite. So after he banished his initial queen, she became the queen. And then Mordecai convinced Esther to speak with the king to save the Jewish people, when another character in the story convinced the king to destroy the Jewish people.
Great. And her name, Esther, by the way, Esther comes from Ishtar. Ishtar is another pagan god. So our hero and heroine were basically Christine and Christopher. Those were their names. So part of the book is a rebuke of, or not a rebuke, but a commentary perhaps, of Jews who were very assimilated and into Persian society, and so assimilated that they just didn't have like Persian names. They had names of pagan gods as their names. Pretty remarkable in terms of what happened and where it was. So it's for a longer conversation certainly, but very interesting. And I think that's one of the reasons why this book takes on such a hold of our imagination and captivates us so much Jewishly, because it's really a diasporan story. It's a story that captures the experience of diasporan Jews who don't get a chance to who don't live in Israel, who live outside, who live amongst a foreign power, for whom anybody could rise to power with crazy uncertainty and be able to spew many things that may sound offensive and lead to potentially awful consequences.
What do you think about those as Jewish names now?
It's a great question. So, like many things in Judaism, we have found new, beautiful ways to reread things of the past, right? Because Mordecai and Esther were who they were, they have elevated those names, and now we are able to reread them differently. So Mordecai, for example, we now reread as Mar Deror. Mar is like myrrh, so it's a spice. And Deror is some other spice, and it also means freedom. So Mordecai, we have co-opted from his pagan roots into rereading it because of who he was and how he changed the trajectory of the Jewish people at the time. It now sanctifies that name that was once rooted in pagan culture. And now it's a very Jewish name. And we shouldn't be embarrassed to use it. But proud. Which is what makes the book of Purim so amazing and the story of Esther so amazing. It's sanctifying things that were previously off limits. It's the way that we Jews have been able to survive in the diaspora, in the exile, when other people controlled our fates. Gabe, you want the next one? And Misa.
Yes, which one?
Esther?
No, Haman, right?
No, Esther.
No, Esther, we did.
Oh, Haman?
I think we did Esther,
Which,
right?
which one are we up to? Sorry.
Huh?
What?
Which one are we up to?
Did I just bring?
Haman.
No. Okay. So Gabe.
Yeah.
And Misatsu, we're on Haman.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So Haman is a bad guy. Like he has like ear.
Pointy ears.
Yeah, pointy ears. So he tried to kill Esther's uncle.
Well, he wanted to kill all the Jews.
Yeah, everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so finally he got killed.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
And his children.
Yeah.
Do you want to know more?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That's a good start.
Okay.
You wanna do more?
I don't know. There's a lot about Haman.
Yeah.
He's Amalek.
There is.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. This is a good start.
Okay.
So I want to make sure we finish it.
Okay. All right.
Misatsu,
what? Can we do Hadassah?
Yeah, why don't we take the next one too?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hadassah, that's Esther's original name.
It's her Hebrew name.
Her Hebrew name, okay.
She had two names, right? She had an English name and a Hebrew name, like we have, or really a Persian name and when I say English, I'm anachronistic, obviously.
Oh, you're saying Esther? It's not Esther? Yeah. Oh, her
Esther,
Hebrew
but
name.
that was her Persian name.
Esther is her Persian name. Okay, I got it.
Okay, let's keep going. Marvai, is Jason with you or just you?
No, it's just me.
Okay.
So I don't know how you pronounce that, but Bigtan and Teresh. I believe these were the two people who served the king and who were plotting to kill him. And Mordecai hears this and reports it to the king through Esther and is, rewarded basically for stopping that plot.
Great. Great. Okay, Jared and Julia, you're up next.
Vashti was the original queen who didn't want to come out naked in front of all of the king's guests. And she got killed for that.
Well, anyone have any questions about his explanation?
I thought she was disfigured because she had done something to her Jewish maidservants and she was being punished, so she was embarrassed.
So that's both of all of what you're quoting exists within the Talmudic lore of understanding of what happened to sort of fill in the gaps.
Hmm.
Now, if you actually read the Megillah, it's very unclear. Well, it's not so unclear, but she did not come out naked. But what the rabbis are getting from that is how misogynist these men are in the Megillah, which is the great irony, of course, because who's the one that really controls everything, and who takes control of the whole story? Is Esther. So these men who are such misogynists end up being ruled over by Esther. That's sort of the flip in the story, shall we say. Julia?
When do we read the Megillah? Night and day of Purim?
Great, we have to read both times. Excellent. Yep. Emily?
This is after Vashti. When do we read the Megillah? Or the next one?
The next one.
Who must hear it? Everyone who's Jewish. I don't know other than that.
So is it so?
Yeah. What were you gonna ask? Yeah, go for it.
Well, let me frame it this way: it's a positive, time-bound commandment.
Right, but women are still obligated to hear it in spite of that, even though they're not obligated to fulfill other time-bound. That's what.
Exactly. Exactly. Correct. But not children. Children, I mean, are like any other mitzvah for children. So when you say all Jews, so not children. I mean, yes, we encourage children.
Yeah.
Yes. Precisely. So even though this is a time-bound positive commandment, because it can only be said on Purim, you can't celebrate this day another time. But nonetheless, women are very much obligated. And why are they obligated?
That's how it's written. I know why. Why not?
Any guesses? Why would we subvert this previous learning of women are exempt? Or not, we're not going to obligate women to
maybe
do
because Esther is the female heroine, possibly.
We wouldn't have Purim without Esther. It would be kind of bizarre.
The women were saved.
What?
The women were also saved.
And both, exactly. Those were both of what you said are both the reasons. Exactly. We wouldn't. Esther played such a prominent role. We wouldn't have Purim. We wouldn't be alive today if not for Esther. And also, women were just as much at risk as men were. Right? They were coming for all of us. So, for both reasons, men and women are equally obligated. Okay. Number 5, Elena.
What are the 3 main mitzvot of Purim? Okay, the reading of the Megillah, sending gifts to the poor, and Purim meal. I mean, like cook Purim meal.
Yes, and perfect. And when you say sending gifts,
yes.
What do you mean by sending gifts?
I mean, like it's some gifts for poor people who need it.
So yes, so money to poor people.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 3. So we need one more mitzvah, right? There's hearing the Megillah, giving money to the poor.
Yes.
Having a festive meal on the daytime. And one more. Anyone else?
Well, did you cover the mishloach manot or the drinking? I couldn't tell.
Yes.
I couldn't hear.
Mishloach manot. That's the other big mitzvah. What is mishloach manot?
So that's sending at least 2 portions of food to friends, acquaintances.
Yes, exactly. So we're sending food baskets to friends. Really? Well, let's do the next question first, and then I'll say my point. Number 6. Thank you, Marvi, for Annalena. Good tag team. Jackie and Eitan.
What are some of the customs people have for Purim? Dressing up in costume, holding parades, the Purim spiel, using groggers when Haman's name is read, making noise, making hamantashen. What else we got? Am I missing something? Drinking.
Drinking until you mix up Mordecai's name.
Oh yeah. Now because you can't tell them apart.
So drunk you can't tell them.
Yes, exactly. So those are the various customs. Now, one thing to underline though is one of the things that I've always felt pride over is that even though Purim is much less known and recognized within American culture, it's sort of the inverse of Halloween. Right? On Halloween, people get dressed up and then go demand candy from people's homes, saying trick or treat. And you don't give them anything, you just take for yourself. Whereas on Purim, we also get dressed up into costumes, but we go to people's homes and we give them food. Usually they give us back too, but we are supposed to give them food. And that's the mitzvah of Mishlach Manot. It's not I'm going to take from you. It's I'm going to search out you and go give you food. So there are similarities, but the difference is very clear between giving and taking. Okay, we're almost done. 2 more minutes and 3 more questions. Number 7. There's a lot to talk about with the customs, by the way, but I want to make sure I'm respectful of your time. Damien and Limor. Oh wait, Jackie, did you guys want to? You guys sort of took that together. Let's get one more on you guys.
Okay, Tanya Esther is the fast of Esther, and in the story she fasted when she found out the Purim, the lottery date, and so it's a customary, not rabbinic fast that I don't have the actual data, but I think it's a long time before.
John until dusk and for me.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's not the night before. It's just that day. It's from the morning until nightfall.
Yeah.
Not dusk, but nightfall. And if you're pregnant, then you're exempt. Or pregnant nursing women are exempt.
That's it. Oh yeah. Oh, and if it falls on Shabbat, then we observe it.
Yeah, then it gets bounced back. Yeah, exactly. Okay, letter number 8. Damien and Limor. Do you want this one, Damien and Limor?
What is number 8? Thing got messed up.
This is when and what is Shushan Purim?
Oh yeah, it is number 8.
Okay. Can we just do it?
Sure.
You want to read it or me?
You go.
So Shushan Purim is the day after Purim in Jerusalem and other cities that had old city walls observe Shushan Purim. So the reason is the Jews prevailed over the enemies on the 13th day of Adar, on the 14th they feasted. In Shushan, the capital of the battle, lasted another day, and the holiday wasn't able to be celebrated until the 15th. The fact that Shushan was a walled city was taken into account and now celebrated by cities which were walled at the time of Yoshua.
Yes, and we therefore the people who live in Jerusalem celebrate Shushan Purim on the 15th of Adar, not the 14th when we do. It's very weird. This is a very strange holiday in which Jews celebrate the days, a holiday on different days, depending on which city you live in. And it's categorically different from the extra day of Yom Tov. Okay, well, let's just do number 9. Let's see if we're going to get Damien and Limor back in for number 9. The last question, how many Mishlach Manot should we send to our friends?
Sorry, we didn't realize we were on mute.
That's what I forget her name was saying before. That's the portions of food that you send. It's at least 2 portions to one person, and it's like you were saying, celebrate the opposite of Halloween where you're giving and dressing up.
Exactly. Many people give to far more than just the mitzvah of one person. It can get a little out of hand. I remember growing up, we had 30, 40 Mishlach Manot that we would have set up, and it would be an all-day affair. First, we'd walk down to all of our neighbors on our block, and then we get into the car, we drive around the neighborhood, and we see all these people walking around in costumes, because I live in Brooklyn, so in Flatbush. Everybody celebrated Purim. So you walk around and you go to there, it was crazy traffic. And you have to be careful because they had limos going around too, because since there's a custom of drinking, right? If you were drinking, you should not be driving. So they had people coming in and out of limos asking for tzedakah. Why? Because that's another one of the mitzvahs of the day of Purim, right? To give tzedakah to the poor. So they'd be going around collecting, and they'd be getting drinks from all these people's homes. They drink a little bit, they get tzedakah, they get back into the limo, and go to another person's home, ask for more money, collecting for organizations and whatnot. Anyway, it's really a sight to behold. If you have a chance to go and sort of be in a Jewish community, not just like go to a shul for the Megillah reading, which of course you'll do, but like literally go to a place where there are tons of Jews, it's something else to see the Jews walk around with these food baskets and their costumes and lots of people, and then people going to go collect money from these wealthy homes, and it's really something. Anyway, we're out of time. Happy Purim, everybody. Have an easy fast next Wednesday. This Shabbat, by the way, is very important. You have to be in shul. Anyone know why this Shabbat?
Is it Zachor?
It's Zachor, yes. The Shabbat before Purim is always Parshat Zachor, where we read about our mitzvah to destroy Amalek. And that is how we fulfill the mitzvah today. We fulfill the mitzvah of Amalek to remember to destroy the Amalek by going to shul today. It's one of the most important days to actually show up in shul. So find yourself a shul this Shabbat to make sure you go if you don't live in Greenpoint to come to our shul. You know, it's much more important than your average Shabbat. It's don't go to shul on Pesach morning. If you had a choice between Pesach morning and this or Shavuot morning, you still would go this upcoming Shabbat, a random Shabbat in March, to hear Parshat Zachor. Very important. It's a biblical mitzvah. And have a wonderful Purim, a Freilichen Purim, a happy Purim, because we're not going to be together next Wednesday because of Purim.
Rabbi, what time is Megillah reading at your shul?
I think we said 8 o'clock, 7:45, 8 o'clock.
And during the day?
During the day, we're doing a morning one. So it's just first thing in the morning, so people can go to work afterwards.
Okay, awesome. What time around?
I think it's going to be closer to like 7:30.
Okay, wow. So we'll probably try to come for the night one. And
okay, I'm going to